Hi, and good evening. My name is David, using him pronouns, and tonight we are playing the finale of our current run of The Between. As I said before, as this is the last in the series, I was just going back to the beginning if this is the first one you're watching. But this is The Between is a PBTA game of Gothic monster hunters in Victorian London, dealing with various threats to the city and people therein. This game is by Jason Cordova. It is published by the Gauntlet, and this game is also arranged through the Gauntlet. We have an online gaming calendar where you can join up for games, much like this one. You can find information on all of that stuff at gauntlet-rpg.com. Where you can find information on the games that we play, the games that we've made, as well as a gaming magazine called Codex and a number of podcasts. You can find information on all that stuff, and I'll put a link to that down below. As I said, this is our finale today. We will be, last time we played, we discovered that Lord Fauconberg, the mastermind for this particular run, has been plotting to enact some sort of mystical ritual atop the Tower of London, which involves sacrificing a medium that you've met previously, named Madam Sorokin. The ritual that he's enacting is supposed to give him the power of the genius loci of the British Isles, and in particular will grant him the ability to turn his supporters into were creatures of some variety, in order to enforce his will as he attempts to turn Britain and the world into a shining utopia. So that's kind of where we're at. We kind of uncovered the plot last time, and tonight we are going to be focusing on stopping Lord Fauconberg from achieving his goals. Before we leap into things, I'm going to do the usual, ask everyone just to give a quick introduction, who they're playing, what they got up to last time, and any ongoing conditions that you still have. So as ever, I'll go in character keeper order. David, if I can start with you, please.
Certainly, yes. Hi, everyone. My name is David. I use he, him pronouns, and I am playing as Trixie using the American playbook. Coming into this final session, I'm in a pretty good position. I don't have any conditions on hand just yet, although I expect that's going to change soon. And I think where we sort of last left her, I think she was just about to kind of get together with the rest of the team and make up some kind of plan as to how we're going to address this final sort of threat, which, as I recall, is taking place near and about the Tower of London. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I am at, where I am coming into this.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And Sabine.
Yeah, hi, my name is Sabine. I use any pronouns. I am going to play Dr. John Fenworth, the mother playbook. I have not yet been able to create my child, but I will try that as soon as we've dealt with this Fauconberg character. Last time, I think I set for him for a portrait, a rather intimate portrait of my dad, and he just revealed his entire evil plan to me, because he likes talking about himself, and he seemed to think that I might be on board with his vision of the future, which I might have been, but there are some issues that I have. So I returned and warned everybody, or well, they figured out stuff as well. I had no idea about the were creatures, but now we will stop this character and then I will try to figure out what to do about my child. So
awesome, thank you. That's perfect. Last but not least, Anders, if you'd like to again introduce yourself and tell us a bit about who you're playing.
Yes, hello, I'm Anders, he, him. I'm playing Ardent Casebury, the vessel, also he, him. Last time he consulted some star charts while drinking absinthe and had some very good ideas about what was going on, but maybe not so much about how to solve it. I currently have this strange reflections condition from gazing a bit too closely at the St. Petersburg mirror. I'm sure that won't bring any trouble at all.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Yeah, so as I say, you know this ritual will be taking place tonight atop the Tower of London. So the way I will do this, we will sort of treat this in most respects like a regular night phase. So we will have an unseen. We will intersperse that with between the action as usual. The difference is that this is probably going to be obviously a bit longer than we'd normally aim for in a night scene to accommodate dealing with this particular threat. Obviously, there's no clues to find at this point. It is just a case of stopping this ritual and dealing with Lord Fauconberg is all we're focusing on tonight. So the very first thing that we will be doing is we will be going through for our dusk phase paint the scene question, just to get a little overview of Hargrave House. So I think what we are going to go for today, this seems to make sense given what you're up to this evening. Our room for tonight will be the map room. This room is littered with maps of the city, of England, of the world, and some of them are highly unusual. Name one and describe why it is so strange. David, I'll come to you first if that's okay.
Got it. So we're naming a map in this map room and describing what is so odd about it.
Yeah, that's right.
Sure. I wonder if perhaps there might be a map of the city of London, but it is sort of a cutout sort of map. So you see it kind of from bottom to top, and it kind of works through the sewers down in the subterranean levels, kind of up through the very tops of the towers and palaces and so forth.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
that's cool. Thank you very much. And Sabine, what's another map that we see, and what's so strange about it?
Well, this is a map of it has to be a place, right? There are streets, appear to be streets, and houses, but this is actually a body, a human body. The streets are where the arteries are the veins. There is a palace where the heart should be, and things like that. Intestines is where sewer plants are, or something like that. It is a very odd thing, and that's the map.
Excellent, thank you. And Anders, how about you? What's another strange map we see in the map room?
I have two ideas, but I'll go with the first one, I think. Yeah. This is, and maybe now I'm just working from this strange reflections thing, but this is called the mirror map. And it's a map of London, except it's mirrored, it's reversed south and west. And it's maybe showing London from some other world or something, or maybe it's just a weird experiment someone did. But it's difficult to read because the letters seem to move around, and it doesn't behave like a piece of paper should.
Excellent, thank you. And I also realized I did this slightly out of order. Technically, the first thing we do is we check any moves that will kick off in the dusk phase before going into the night phase. So I believe that this is Trixie's quickening move, and Dr. Fenworth, if you wish to send out the resurrectionists.
Oh yeah, cool. I will. Oh my gosh.
So we'll do Dr. Fenworth first. So each dusk phase, pick 2 that you want the resurrectionists to get up to this evening.
Well, they will acquire a body part for the child, I think.
Yeah.
Can I well, can I choose that twice?
That's a good question. Yeah, go on. I'll say so. It doesn't specify one way or the other, but yeah, we may as well push the accelerator on that a little.
Okay, then I will have them get me some blood and some arms. I will rather specify. I will be a bit fakey about it. Like, don't take the blood of a too young, too old person. Like, it should be a man's blood, and the arms have to be well formed, I guess. No, please don't bring the arms of a crone or something, but of an athletic sort of man to go with the rest of it.
Excellent. Yeah, and David, if you would like to make your quickening move.
Absolutely. So we're going to roll this one with composure, and that's going to get a +2.
Excellent.
That is a 10 total.
10, perfect. So on the 10+, your body is stronger and faster, and you manage to keep the quickening in check. You roll with advantage when taking actions that use vitality until the next dawn phase. So yeah, how do we see sort of Trixie taking control of the beast within this evening?
I think that as she is strapping up to go and take this threat down at the Tower of London, we see the sun kind of set over the horizon, and you can see almost in a vampiric sort of way the quickening of her pulse and her neck, and the sort of dilation of her eyes, and the shallow quickening of her breath. You can see that there is this primal side that is beginning to kind of emerge, that is filled with aggressive violence, yes, but it's all done in the most graceful of manner.
Excellent. So the last thing before we kick off the night phase is we will. I'll actually do this again slightly out of order, just for ease. We will be, as I said, we will be doing an unseen this evening. We will be doing a show at Tavistock Hall. This is in the middle column, about towards the bottom. That's G31. So this is an evening at a music hall. So the first one is a paint the scene question that everyone will do. Sabine, if you take the second, Anders, if you take the third, and David, you'll take the fourth. So if you want to look over those now, that's cool. The other thing that we will be doing is, in a moment, I will just be, this will not be so much questioning you on what you want to do this evening, because I think that will be relatively obvious. But if there is like a specific approach that you want to take to how you want to deal with this ritual. But before we do that, what I will do is I'll just give you a very brief overview on the Tower of London itself. So the Tower of London is an old Norman castle, built in the immediate aftermath of the Battle of Hastings and all that, some years afterwards. It's a big square stone castle. Basically, it has a big, tall, square tower in the center, a curtain wall around it. It is right on the river. It's sort of towards the east of London, though it's fairly central. It is, as I said, it has big, tall stone walls, a couple of gates that are manned usually. There is also Traitor's Gate, which is a gateway that actually opens out onto the river itself, and you can sort of actually get under the tower by boat also. So that's kind of the overall layout of it. I believe, roughly anyway, at this time, the tower is still kind of a semi-active military installation, and I think is possibly even still used to hold prisoners, which is what it's been used for a considerable amount of time. It's famously, obviously, used for holding prisoners during the Tudor times, the execution of an execution place, particularly for royalty. So some of the wives of Henry VIII and all that met their end at the tower. So that's my little tour guide bit over, just to give you kind of an idea of what you're getting into, as it were. But yeah, with that said, I will just go around quickly. We'll do this in the same way as usual. So I'll give you all a moment to, I'll give you all a chance to just say what you think you would like to do, and then we'll sort of come back around again to see if anyone wants to revise their approach given what someone else has said. But I'll start off with you again, please, David. What do you think? What do you think Trixie's thoughts on how to get in and how to deal with this are?
You said that it's accessible via boat, right?
That's right. Yep.
How would that work?
So there's essentially there is a big gate still, but there's sort of a water gate. So you could either, get up and bypass the water gate itself, or potentially even swim under it, or something along those lines.
I'm personally rather fond of that, because while Trixie would probably find some manner to scale a wall or this or that, we need to get Ardent and John in as suspect, or not suspect, but as non-suspicious a manner as possible. So if there's kind of a back entrance like that boat sort of thing you're discussing, maybe that could be a possibility. Unless it's a heavily guarded kind of front entrance, because lots of people are shipped in by boat, then maybe not. But that's the top of, I think, my thinking right now.
Yeah, awesome. Dr. Fenworth, how about yourself?
I would actually try the front gate, bully my way inside, say that I am a guest of Lord Fauconberg. I'm invited, and that's even true. I mean, vaguely, I escaped from his house earlier with the help of my costume, which I've used up, but I still have it, right? I don't can't use it, but I still have it. So why not do that? Dress up in the costume and go there and say, "Hey, I'm a member of this effing cult."
Excellent. And how about you, Arden? What do you think your approach to this would be?
I like the idea of the Traitor's Gate. Arden could maybe get in via some magical means as well. And maybe assist someone else. Maybe he and Trixie will go in either via the gate or through magic or both. And Dr. Fenworth will use the front entrance, and he has an in there, sort of.
Yeah, no, that sounds cool. Trixie, does that sound like a plan to you?
Yeah, I quite like John's idea to essentially show up at the front door and say, "Hi, I'm here for the thing." And I would be very curious to see Arden's magic at play, especially because I don't know that Trixie has really seen that firsthand so far. So that might be an interesting way to start the evening off.
Yeah, awesome. That sounds good. Okay, so before we begin our intrusion into the tower, we will kick off with our first unseen phase. So, a show at Tavistock Hall. Tavistock Hall was one of the earliest custom-built music halls in London. While the business started as a pub with a sideline and entertainers, they commissioned a space specifically for performances. The clientele sit at tables cabaret style and can drink and eat while watching a variety show. It's an affordable luxury for London's working class, and the crowd at Tavistock's is already lively as the show begins. So this one is a paint the scene. The audience make their way to their seats as the orchestra begins playing. Describe one of the audience members and how we can tell they have been looking forward to this evening. I think actually I'll go in reverse character keeper order this time. So Anders, who is one of the audience members that we see?
I think there's a woman, maybe in her mid-20s. She's reasonably well dressed, and she has a little notebook with her, where she's been here many times before, and she makes notes about the performances because it helps her remember what she experienced, and she is probably a bit of a nerd when it comes to these things. She likes to keep track of who sings what and that sort of thing.
Awesome, thank you. And yeah, Sabine, who's another audience member that we see, and how can we tell they've been looking forward to this evening?
I think this one is actually, his name is Rudolph White. He's the brother of Harley White, and he should be at the cemetery, right? But he isn't, because it's this night and it's this play, and he has to see it. So he's wearing a rather horrible suit or whatever goes for fancy among the working class, but he's dressed to the 8.5s at least, and he is yeah, he's pretty much talking. Yeah, he's got the money. Sure, there's this rich guy. He can't tell anyone about anything, but yeah, well, he's going to have, but not tonight. Not tonight. Tonight he's going to. He told this fancy guy that tonight he would go to see the arts, and the fancy guy didn't know what to say to that, right? He didn't think that somebody like Rudolph knew about the arts, but Rudolph does. And he's very effusive about this. It's maybe a little bit in one of his cups, but wow.
Awesome, thank you very much. So, and yeah, David, if you'd like to introduce our third member of the audience this evening.
I think that you have a member of the audience who has decided to dress up like their favorite act. I think that you might have a few people who are kind of a traveling sort of, well, maybe not traveling, but they're a slapstick theater troupe, and they dress up as famous sort of British political officials. One of them might be a guard, and one of them might be, you know, a member of the royal family or something like that. And they goof around and do these sort of slapstick political satires. And I think one of the members of the audience has put together this very elaborate, quite accurate wardrobe and have shown up dressed as a royal guard, and they're sitting excitedly in the near front row, waiting for their favorite act to come on.
Awesome, thank you very much. Yeah, so we come in, night has begun to fall. There is a half moon rising above the tower. And I think we kind of see in sort of long shot Dr. Fenworth approaching the main gates, while we see we hear the soft slap of water against wood as we see the little rowboat carrying Ardent and Trixie towards Traitor's Gate. And I think we will come in first on Dr. Fenworth. So, Dr. Fenworth, as you are approaching the gates, are you dressed in the full outfit already, the mask and the robes? Or
I think that would be a bit too on the nose, right? I might keep a little watch to see people who are arriving, if any of them are wearing the mask and the robes, and if not, I won't either, because it's not yet time for that.
Sure thing. Yeah. As you reach the gate, you will notice someone stood outside wearing the traditional beefeaters outfit, the big kind of puffy hat and the red things with the big, again, that very sort of Tudor looking uniform, carrying a halberd. But you can tell as you get closer that the uniform they're wearing doesn't quite fit them. There's possibly a couple of tears in it. Some, what might be, and some of the sort of white accents on it. There's just a trace of blood. But they will still, as you're at a little distance, they will say, "Halt! Who goes there?"
I raise an eyebrow and I say, "Well, my name is Dr. John Fenworth, and I'm expected." By Lord Fauconberg.
and there's that moment where he kind of stands there, eyeing you up and down, maybe glancing back to the tower to see.
I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping. I'm just talking to him while I'm going in, right?
Awesome. So I think we'll go for the night move here. What are you afraid will happen if this goes badly?
I'm afraid that if this goes badly, he would, well, alert people to my, not only alert people to my presence, but take me in custody or something, because they need sacrifices, right? Yeah, that's what I'm pretty much afraid will happen.
I think it's worse than that, or possibly not worse, depending on your particular inclination. But I think he will just kill you where you stand, as he's clearly been told to brook no interlopers.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you would like to make me a roll with, I think.
Presence?
Yeah, I was going to say either presence or composure, but no, I think presence is the one here.
The dice room.
Yeah, sorry, I'll give you a link.
It's in the info tab, right?
It is, but I can probably get it.
There it is. I got it.
Ah, cool.
It just has to open up. And of course, I don't have any physical dice here besides the one that shows body parts for some reason. It was a gift for moving in, but it's well, rather appropriate.
I was going to say appropriate for Dr. Fenworth, but maybe less useful for.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I'm rolling 2 dice. Do I have something? Let me check my inventory before I do it. Well, no. I have the golden ornamental sacrificial dagger. I could show that to him to prove my credentials, but I won't. I feel that I might use that sometime else.
Sure thing.
So it's an 8.
An 8. Okay. So I think he will walk as you're sort of walking forwards. He'll kind of wait for you to walk past him, and sort of follow on behind you. As he gets to the gate, it will be opened, and there are a couple of men inside. They are armed. They have rifles. They have blades. They're not dressed in uniform per se, but they're all dressed in similar clothing. They're sort of dressed in dark black clothing with again sort of the little golden falcon pin on them. The sort of man in the beefeaters outfit will say, "This is Dr. Fenworth. He's here to see the boss. I think he's expected." And the one of the men will say, "Certainly, come with me, sir." So yeah, you will be allowed in, but you will have an escort with you.
That's fine.
So Trixie, Ardent, as you approach the Traitor's Gate, it certainly does appear that they haven't made any particular effort to guard this entrance. Certainly there's no one you can see outside it when you get here. The gate is down, currently barring entrance, but you are able to kind of get within the shadow of the walls. bobbing gently up and down on the waters of the Thames. But yeah, what is your plan for bypassing the gate and gaining entrance to the tower?
Do you have any sorts of magic that you could work here? I think I'm not that familiar with your moves, Ardent.
I mean, I have one of the effects I can choose is do one thing that is beyond human limitations. And I feel like bending the metal bars of the gate enough that we can get through would fit with that.
Yeah,
That's reasonable.
absolutely. Yeah.
So I guess we're on some sort of boat.
Yeah, I'm imagining just like a little rowing boat type of thing.
So Ardent, I think he's kneeling at the in the prow, facing the gate, and I think he dips his hands in the water and draws it up, and the water kind of follows with his hands, but it's a deep black, like the dark entities that he sometimes engages in various activities with, and he reaches out for the bars of the gate, and it's unclear if it's his arms that are stretching out or if it's this infused water that is reaching out for the bars.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah, that sorry, I've lost track. That is this right, so sword and smoke.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, if you would like to make that roll, which will be with sensitivity.
That's a 6 and a 2 on the dice, so that should be 11, I think.
Yeah, excellent. So yeah, on a 10 plus, magic works without further cost. So yeah, you will be able to. So if you want to describe how it looks as you kind of get the gate out of the way.
Yeah, I think these elongated arms grab the metal, and with surprisingly little sound, it bends and twists them enough that they can get through. They can't get the boat through, but they can move the boat up to the gate, and they can get through the gate itself. And then these watery arms sort of dissipate and flow back into the water.
Excellent. So yeah, as you're able to, Trixie, how do you react to this display of power? I'm interested to know how you feel about this.
Ardent, I can see that you weren't spinning no tail when you said that you knew a thing or two about, well, magic.
Alas, this is merely borrowed power, and it comes at a cost. And I think this is when you can see that his hands are sort of twisted and not quite blackened, but they're definitely discolored. And it's clear that he's in pain from the effort and what the dark entities have claimed from him.
I think that this will remind Trixie on some level of the curse that she herself has been faced with. And so I think that she will say with some caution, well, I've never seen such things look just like you made him look, but They don't sit well with me all the same. Just make sure you don't go pointing none of that at me.
Rest assured, I have no such intentions. I try to limit my use of this power for many different reasons.
I don't know if tonight's a good night to be limiting power necessarily, but I'll trust your judgment when it comes to that.
We'll see. Perhaps this is the time when I will cut loose, as they say.
Maybe so. Maybe myself, or maybe I will myself, and I'll kind of pat my gun a little bit.
Yes, that seems more likely that your skills will be useful at this particular juncture. Is it maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes, juncture. It took me a moment to to think as well. Yeah, cool. No, that's perfect. So yeah, you will. The boat will slip inside the now empty gateway between the ruins of the gate. But yeah, as you say, it made surprisingly little noise. You're able to sit quietly inside the little dock and begin to make your way up the steps into the grounds of the tower proper. And I think here we will go to our next unseen prompt. So, this one is for Sabine. Parson Clapp is a larger-than-life caricature of a rural clergyman, performed by a male impersonator in a comical bit with jokes and bawdy songs. How does the act poke fun at the establishment?
Well, this is purportedly an act about a medieval sword-ish, medieval-ish monk, right? The Father Tuck-like figure, or Friar Tuck-like figure. He's has very well-padded stomach. He has a large tankard of what is supposedly and probably really beer or ale or something, at least, or maybe it's wine, who knows. Well, anyway, he will claim different things during this act, and he will make up a lot of jokes about being Catholic and that Catholicism will always rule England, just like, and then he will start to draw very odd parallels between the fall of the Catholic faith, I guess, in England, and what replaced it and why that's better, or maybe it's not at all better, maybe it's even worse, or well, anyway, because just like the bishops used to go out with the daughters of the peasants, nowadays it's the vicars who corrupt the young souls of England with their songs, and he sings a very bawdy song about a vicar and what his religious predilections might be like, and it's very, very filled with double entendre and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So yeah, I think, and this is kind of at this point, I think all three of you are sort of moving through the grounds of the tower itself. You will notice, as I said again, several people dressed in a similar way to the guards you saw at the door, sort of dressed in just fairly simple black outfits, carrying guns, carrying swords or knives. You will see here and there a few more folks in beefeater uniforms and similar who have been either killed or otherwise overpowered. You can see there are obviously people up on the walls of the curtain walls, of looking around. You can see more people stationed up at the top of the tower itself. From down below, it's probably difficult to actually make out what's going on the top of the roof itself, but you can sort of just make out the sort of people who are stood on the very edges, scanning the sort of the open space in between. You, Dr. Fenworth, are being escorted directly towards the tower proper, towards the keep. Trixie, Ardent, what is your plan for kind of getting to the tower now? Trying to keep quiet, or are you going to be a bit more distracting?
My thoughts are that we'd do well to remain quiet, but then again, if I need to make a distraction so you can get through Ardent, I can probably get away with that just fine.
Or vice versa, I believe. Because we want to get to the top of the tower, right? Top of the building.
Yep, that's what you believe, certainly. I believe your kind of solution last time, part of it was based around the fact that they need to be under the light of the stars when they did this ritual.
Right. Yeah. I'm thinking if there's some crazy way we could like scale the building on the outside. I mean, it is night, so it would be harder to spot us, and maybe Trixie has some something from her days with the circus that could help us, maybe.
Well, I'm all for scaling the building. Let me just see kind of what I've got in my bag of tricks here.
What I will say, actually, if you're looking, is this will almost certainly be a vitality roll to climb the tower, which you're currently rolling at advantage due to your quickening.
Right. You know, it's a good move to make. Well, in that case, what would that look like exactly? Would we kind of sneak over to one end of the tower and Ardent kind of jumps upon my back and I begin finding handholds and footholds, and we do it that way? We free climb it, or did you picture it a different way?
I don't know. I was thinking maybe some kind of, I don't know. I mean, you can't use a grappling hook to get the whole way up, but maybe yeah. I'm not sure. I wasn't picturing anything too specific. It was just an idea that maybe some kind of climbing claws or something. You know, you could have something that would be used at the circus to climb something that would seem impossible to climb, that sort of thing, or maybe something that would get us part of the way up, and then you can do your quickened physique can do the rest for us.
Right. I'm trying to think about if I could lower a rope or something. I don't know that I have one on me necessarily.
Yeah, you can assume you have stuff like that. It would make sense that you would bring some supplies like that along when you're going to break into a place. So that's cool.
Sure. So, I mean, if that is the case, then I think what I might do is see if there might be, I'm kind of looking at this picture of the Tower of London. I've never been there myself, and this might be inaccurate, but I'm seeing that you kind of have these 4 towers on either corner of it. And I wonder if there might be a way that I could kind of brace myself between kind of one wall that juts out one way and the other wall that juts out at a 90-degree angle from the first, and kind of shimmy my way up that way. It would be really, really difficult, but that's kind of the most effective way I can think to scale this thing, aside from finding a tree or something that I could climb up.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. That sounds good. I like it.
Okay. So would this be a night move?
Oh, yes,
then?
it would. So, yeah, sorry. So, yeah, what would you, it will be a night move. And what are you afraid will happen if this goes badly?
Sure. I'm not entirely certain how this could be made worse, but I mean, my first thought is that I slip and fall to my death.
Yeah. I think the way that it's worse than that is not only will you slip and fall to your death, but it will not be quite an unobtrusive. The guards will spot it, and the alarm will be sounded.
That works. But this is vitality with advantage, which is as good a roll as I could make at this point. So here we go. Yeah, that's a 14, I think.
Perfect. So yeah, on the 12 plus, not only do you get what you were after, you'll get another benefit or advantage. So I think the primary advantage you get is that you're able to kind of scale up this side of this tower and kind of deploy the rope behind you as you go. Ardent, you're able to kind of come up without any problems afterwards. I'm not going to ask you to make a roll for that. You can follow along easily. I think the other little minor benefit I'm going to give you is that you managed to do this, quietly. You have not yet alerted any guards, and I think the tower that you come up, you get a good view down onto the kind of the roof of the central keep, where you can see the ritual sort of space has been prepared. Again, there are several guards stationed around it, but there is, you can see Lord Fauconberg there. You see several people kind of dressed in robes and in the gold masks stood at various points on what looks like some sort of magical sigil in the middle of the tower there, in the middle of the roof. And you will also see that Alessandra Volpe is also there in her customary black veils and the like. So, cutting back over to Dr. Fenworth. Actually, before we cut back over to Dr. Fenworth, we are a bit past the half hour, so we'll take a quick break here. Come back at if we say come back at 1:45, that probably makes the most sense at this point, and we'll pick up again there. So yeah, Dr. Fenworth, you will be led sort of into the tower proper, and as I say, this guard, for want of a better word, will begin to kind of leading you towards a set of stairs. Are you intending to just keep so?
I would like to get rid of this person at one point or another.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do you think that's going to look as you try and get rid of them?
I think I might just be very uncreative, feign some sort of stumbling or something, and try to draw him in. And then, I mean, I have this this ceremonial dagger, right? So, yeah, well.
Excellent. Yeah. So I think that this will be the night move. I'll be asking you to roll with vitality, but yeah, that the sacrificial dagger will give you advantage on that. But yeah, what are you afraid will happen if this goes wrong?
Well, that there will be a fight. That's not what I'm afraid. If this goes, that's what will happen if this goes wrong. No, what I'm afraid is that if this goes wrong, there will be the alarms will be raised, and it will be harder for Trixie and Ardent to get where they're supposed to be, because they will be on alert if they know that I'm here and intend to do violence.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the thing that's worse in this instance is that not only will sort of the alarm be raised, but you will be you will be kind of overpowered by the guards that they send to you, and will be of will have no way to assist your friends.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm rolling. See how that goes. Wow, that goes amazingly. It's a 10.
10. Perfect. So
yeah, I've used the gold thingy dagger for this.
Yeah.
So I roll with advantage.
Excellent. So yeah, it goes off without a hitch. How does this look as you take out this card?
Well, it looks like I stumble, grunt a little, like, did I break something? Did I hurt myself? The guard moves in a little just to see what's going on. And I turn around to him and I say, I think something's wrong here. And as he looks at me like, what's wrong? I will pull out the dagger and put it into his throat. Neatly, quietly. Or maybe not his throat, that there's a lot of spray. No, somewhere in his sternum. Yeah, I know where the heart is, right? I just push it into his heart. I mean, I am, after all, a physician.
Indeed. Yeah.
Well, there is bleeding, and most of it's internal, and I can just pull him somewhere where it's quiet and he can be dead all by himself. And then I will put on the robes, of course.
Yep. Excellent. Perfect. So you will be able to proceed up the stairs unhindered in your guise. You probably will see a few more guards sort of on your way up. Kind of, they seem to be kind of. But they don't seem to be so much focusing on stopping people from going up as they are kind of dealing with whatever stragglers and the like there are in the rest of the tower itself. Now as you reach the top, and this is again what Ardent and Trixie will also be seeing, is like I said, this ritual is clearly in progress. There is chanting. There's candles burning at significant points around this sigil, as I described before, is sort of traced out in powdered silver. There is sort of trussed up in the center is Madam Sorokin, there are Lord Fauconberg is sort of stood at the head of this of the sigil. He is dressed in like very elaborate-looking cloth of gold robes, though he's not currently wearing a mask himself, though he has one kind of hanging down around his chest. You will also notice scattered at again sort of a presumably significant points around this sigil, various incredibly ornate looking pieces of gold and jewelry, which you will quickly recognize as being at least a partial cross-section of the crown jewels, which are also held within the tower. As I say, the chanting will be kind of going on as Dr. Fenworth, as you kind of emerge from one of these like trapdoor type things up onto the roof, and Trixie and Ardent, as you kind of are getting an aerial view down from one of the towers at the corner. And I think as we see this scene laid out before us, I'm going to turn to Anders for our next unseen prompt. The Old Witch Amazons are a pair of twin sisters who have devoted themselves to athletics and bodybuilding. What feats of strength and endurance do we see them perform, and how do we see that they take pride in their bodies?
I think they're doing, it's not fancy, but they're doing acrobatics, and they're doing sort of balance strength feats like handstands on the raised arms of the other. They do, like, one of them will lift the other on her straight arms several times up and down. They will do some flips and cartwheels that are quite impressive. They can leap quite far. They will do, one of them will jump into the hands of the other and be vaulted up. They don't have any equipment. It's just the two of them, but they do some very impressive acrobatics and feats of strength. Just basically just using their bodies. And I think we see that they're wearing not like skin tight clothes, but fairly tight clothes, and they are, even when they're not actually doing their tricks, if you would call them that, they are very conscious of their bodies and how they're holding themselves and posing for the audience, which and this displays very clear confidence and that they are aware of their bodies in a positive way.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So yeah, as I say, as you're sort of emerging, this ritual is clearly in progress. Alessandra will step up to to Lord Fauconberg. She has sort of she mutters a few words and waves a hand over a dagger, not unlike the one that John just employed, before handing it to Lord Fauconberg, and he will, with his other hand, just put the mask up and over his face. What do you do? I'm going to come to Ardent first, actually. As this sort of ritual is going on, what do you think your next step is here?
Ooh. This may be a bit. I kind of want to bring in this orrery that I've had since the beginning and never used. So I think Ardent has brought that along, like in a knapsack or something. And now I think we're up on the roof, but we're kind of hidden somewhere.
Yeah. So yeah, the tower has like four. The keep has like four towers going up either side, and you're essentially at the top of one of those towers, which has like a kind of an arched, not quite a dome, but like a sort of spire type thing. And yeah, you're essentially up in the ramparts around the top of that. Is the way I picture it.
Yeah. So and I think he's brought this orrery along, not set up, but in pieces. So now he's setting it up and. He's got his star charts and he's starting to spread those around and putting little pieces of rock on them to keep them from flying away, and trying to match them with what's going on down there to figure out how he can if he's able to use his mystical powers and insight to sabotage the ritual. But he needs to understand what's going on, and so he's trying to set up the orrery and rotate it in the planets in the right positions and that sort of thing.
Yeah, awesome. I feel like this is close enough to a thinning of the veil to get to get that move, if you would like to use that.
Absolutely. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, that's a 5 on the dice, so that's an 8.
Excellent. So what I will mention here, just because we only picked it up the time before last, if you wish, you may, because this is a role involving divination, you may, if you want to, mark the St. Petersburg mirror to roll a third d6. If this comes up as a 4+, then it counts as if you had advantage on that roll. So that will bring you up to a 10+. If it's a 1 to 3, though, that will count as if you had disadvantage on the roll, which is likely to mean you fail.
Ooh, that's difficult. I have a few masks left, so I think I'll mark. On the other hand, okay, now I'm going to do this a bit gamey. Hit is basically good enough because I get to know what is about to happen. On the other hand, if I roll it, on the other hand, getting a better result is better. So yeah, so being noted here that I used the orrery, so I should have rolled with.
Oh yeah, that is a very good point. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cool. So I will roll one more die.
Yeah, sorry, I've
5. So that's a 12.
12. Nice.
Special for this, I think. Excellent, thank you.
That is cool. So, in which case, yeah, sorry, I'd completely forgotten that. Yeah, the whole point was that you wanted to use the orrery, which was the thing. So yeah, I
just wanted to use it in the fiction.
But, exactly. So yeah, you on it. So you will. You can ask me what is about to happen, and you may also ask why is this about to happen. You will. Well, on a 12+, you would also find a clue. This
maybe
probably
that's
won't be
confusing.
a capital C clue, but I will give you some further information as well. Just
Yeah. Yeah. So what is about to happen?
yeah. So the I mean, this is kind of the obvious answer, but it does essentially confirm what you already know of the ritual. But the that the sacrifice of Madam Sorokin is about to happen. You know, obviously he is about to plunge that knife into Madam Sorokin, killing her. Her blood will basically provide the final link for this ritual to happen, which will basically start the changes in the power that you're expecting to happen. And the why for this, again, it's kind of obvious in this way, but the reason why this is all like happening at this moment, and this kind of leads into how you can affect it. Essentially, you will recognize that the magical nexus of this ritual has already been completed. Sort of this effect is essentially charged now, and so you will need to kind of disrupt, prevent the sacrifice from taking place, and at a minimum, before this can kind of be safely diffused, as it were. And what I'll kind of give you in lieu of a clue is that you reckon that you will be able to essentially take the ritual apart, but it will take you some time to do so. There is a possibility that spilling the blood, not just anyone's blood, will do, but spilling the right person's blood, even if it isn't Madam Sorokin, may still cause this ritual to happen, or at least something to happen.
So it may be a bad idea to just kill people indiscriminately. Is that what you're saying?
Certainly, not necessarily killing people indiscriminately, but certainly killing people within the actual like the sigil itself is likely to be a dangerous plan. Not necessarily it's not necessarily going to play into what Lord Fauconberg wants, but it might have unexpected effects. Put it that way.
Cool. As soon as Arden realizes this, he will reach out for Trixie. He's still watching the orrery and the ritual, but he will reach out and grab her arm. You must keep Madam Sorokin safe, and spill no blood within the sigil.
Well, that answered my question as to why I shouldn't just shoot this man dead right now. That makes things difficult.
He is in the sigil. It may. I don't know what will happen if someone else's blood is spilled, but it is unlikely to be to our advantage.
What's keeping him from just killing her right now and completing this ritual?
Sort of from an out of character perspective at the minute, he's sort of he is preparing to do so. He's probably like making a bit of a show of it because, you know, it's kind of the thing to do.
Does he have, I'm sorry, does he have some kind of ritual weapon that he's gonna?
He does, yeah. Alessandro Volpe just presented him with the knife he's sort of using. So yeah, he is kind of about to advance on Madam Sorokin.
Mr. Caseberry, do you have any objection to me shooting that knife right out of his hand?
Not whatsoever. and I should be most impressed if you could manage that feat.
You don't call me Trixie for nothing.
Excellent. So this will be a night move. It will be again with vitality. No, actually, probably I'm going to say composure for this one because it's a particularly precise shot you're going for there. So yeah, we'll call it composure. But obviously, you can automatically gain advantage on that from your 45. But yeah, what are you afraid will happen if this goes wrong?
Perhaps I'll miss and accidentally kill Madam Sorokin.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is worse than that, because the act of you kind of killing Madam Sorokin will bind you into the ritual, and as part of the effect, this is going to be turning a whole lot of people into a small lycanthrope army. Your inclusion in that is likely to make things a lot more complicated.
All right, so it's a +2 with advantage. That's still good odds. Let's see how we do. That is a 12.
Excellent. So on a 12 plus, you achieve what you want, and you'll get a little extra bonus as well. But first of all, if you'd like to describe how this looks as you shoot the pistol out of Lord Fauconberg's hand.
Well, I think that he has gotten to engaging in some ritual mutterings and is kind of engaging in some certain gesticulations or gestures or making certain symbols with his limbs, such as to produce this ritual effect. And at one point, he holds the knife aloft, at which point there is this report that sounds out through the rooftops. There's this crack of light, and the knife is flung from his hands, and I'll leave it to you if it is still intact or not, but the ballistic shock is enough to rip it from his grasp and to scatter it perhaps outside the sigil.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we see it kind of flip up in the air and sort of like come down point first and sort of wedge between a couple of flagstones on the roof. And I think what I'm going to say here for the additional effect is that, I mean, obviously people were focused on the ritual anyway, but this has drawn everyone's attention. This has caught people off of guard, and I think this will mean kind of Dr. Fenworth, as you kind of come up onto the roof as this is taking place. Everyone's eyes are drawn away from you for the moment, and you can kind of your presence here won't be noted for at least a moment or two. And yeah, what would you like to do?
Well, I didn't overhear that no blood may be spilled in the circle, right? I didn't catch that, but I saw that Trixie didn't shot the knife out of this guy's hand instead of killing him. And knowing Trixie, that had to be on purpose, right?
Yeah.
So there is a reason why I shouldn't just stab her with a scalpel or something. Well, Madam Sorokin, you said, is trussed up, right? So this would, but she's not. She seems to be conscious.
She's definitely conscious. You can see her kind of, particularly at the moment that she was about to be stabbed, she's kind of writhing around. You can hear kind of muffled shouting from beneath the gag in her mouth.
Oh, okay. Then I will go up to her, like, yes, like this is part of the ritual, right? Like, yeah, I'm in a mask and stuff, and I'll go up to her. And I will, though, I will need to wave something about that you two know who I am. I imagine that we discussed this beforehand, right? That you can recognize me even though I am wearing the cultist outfit. So I'm having some sort of green beret? No, not beret. Green ribbon my throat or somewhere there where you can see it, because I don't want you to shoot me, Trixie. Because I'm going up to Madam Sorokin, like, yeah, this is of course I'm trying to lift it. Almost looks like I'm lifting her up for the sacrifice, but what I'm really doing is I'm cutting her the ropes that bind her so that she can move, and then I will try to drag her away from this. And I imagine with the shot ringing out, everybody's in confusion. Probably won't work like a charm, but if she's under her own powers, that might disrupt the ritual at least, or whatever this guy is planning. So
yeah, no, absolutely. Again, I will ask for the night move here, because I think you will be able to get up to her and start loosening her bonds. But this is to sort of see how quickly they twig what's going on. Yeah, I think again, I feel like composure is probably the right one here.
Yeah, I don't think a ghost photograph will help me, but I have a sample of siren liver oil. I don't know if that's helpful at all. Might help her to slip her bonds more easily, but it's a stretch. I'll just roll with composure.
Yeah, and what are you afraid will happen if this goes wrong?
Yeah, that I'm afraid that they will twig onto what I'm doing, and they will stop me from doing it and decide that I'm a worthy sacrifice as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what will happen, in fact, is a gentleman who you will all be able to see on the roof here, but who was only introduced in a cutscene last time, because I didn't get around to introducing them into the plot more generally, is Colonel Baird, who is a well-trained soldier, will twig what is happening, and probably without even thinking that he's doing it, he will plunge a bayonet into you, which will have the effect of completing the ritual, if not in quite as flashy a fashion. But yeah, if you would like to make that roll.
Oh, well. Oh no. Damn it, it's a 10. It's an 11.
11.
Wow.
Okay, so you, as the sort of initial confusion sets in, you are able to get in. And yeah, how does it look as you're kind of freeing Madam Sorokin from the bonds?
I look to the observer like I am dragging her up for the sacrifice even. But ribbon, right? You see that this is not some cultist who's doing that, but this is me. And I am, well, I still have the dagger, right? The gold ceremonial thingy there. And I will use that to cut the ribbons, because that might have, I don't know. Look, how this might have some kind of effect. I don't know. I will cut the ribbons with that anyway, and I will and I will drag her a little, and I will whisper in her ear, maybe while I'm doing that, prepare to run. And
Excellent.
then when she's on her feet and the bonds are loosened, I will just I think I will just push her away and then shout at what's his name, Lord Fauconberg. Excuse me, are these the crown jewels you're using for your ritual?
Excellent. So yeah, at this point, but between the various things going on, the alarm will be shouted. And again, Colonel Baird, who I mentioned before, he's a kind of slightly, he's probably in his late 30s, early 40s, has an impressive handlebar moustache, is dressed in the same manner as the other military types you've seen here, but you cannot mistake the fact that he is in command. He is sort of self-assured, confident. He will yell, "Men, see to the intruders. We cannot let them interfere with Lord Fauconberg's plan." As he kind of clicks his fingers, he's scanning around, probably first spots Trixie and Ardent up on the roof, and sort of is already drawing a pistol from his belt as he sees you, sort of thing. We see Lord Fauconberg will turn to, his masked face will turn to see to where John has just spoken, and you can just hear from under the mask him saying, "Well, I did rather think you might make this a little interesting. And pandemonium is about to kick off. But before it does, we will come in for our final unseen of the evening." David. Sartini the Superlative is an illusionist whose performances inspire wonder in the audience. What about his act demonstrates he may have some real knowledge of mystical traditions?
If it's not too on the nose, I would simply say that he insists on spending the first 2 to 3 minutes of every performance, much to the boredom of his audience, drawing some sort of sigil on the ground for him to perform within.
Excellent. Perfect. So, as we leap back into things, Trixie, I think you are probably the first person to react to everything going on, probably matched only by Colonel Baird. As I said, you can see obviously the guards stationed on the roof are starting to look up in your direction. Colonel Baird is like aiming and about to fire towards you. You've seen the figure that you presume to be John assisting Madam Sorokin out of the sigil. What do you do?
I think my role here is to direct any and all attention away from Fenworth, because they're getting Sorokin out of the area, and if they can do that, then we stand a good chance of disrupting this whole thing. So I think I'm going to have to draw quite a lot of attention to myself. Now, you said that the colonel's got his pistol leveled. Is it at me?
Yes, it's at you. I think I imagine you're in a more prominent position on the tower at the minute, as Ardent is kind of working on their orrery.
Well, in that case, I'm going to get myself away from Ardent as well, at least insofar as I'm keeping him out of range of, or the possibility that a shot will miss me and hit him. So I will kind of leap down onto the keep, I think, the floor of the tower, if you will, and still position myself in front of the rampart that Ardent is upon, so that no one is gonna, rush directly to him undefended. But I will kind of jump down onto this the rooftop, and if it's not falling too deeply into the problem of only having a hammer so everything looks like a nail, I'm inclined to just do a quick draw on this guy and see if I can put one round in his heart.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like an appropriate point for it. This will be the night move. We will say vitality for this one. As you say, it's more about the speed in this instance. What are you afraid will happen if this goes badly?
I imagine that he'll beat me to the punch and shoot me dead.
Yes, absolutely. But what's worse than that is he is a marksman after your own heart. He will not only shoot you, but he will also plug ardent as well, in a kind of classic gunfighter type flurry.
Got it. Well, let's give this a try then. And this is, are we taking advantage with this by virtue of the revolver?
Yes, I think actually either for the revolver or for your vitality, both count.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, obviously
All
you
right,
only get it once, but
sure. That is still a 10, I think.
Yes, I believe so. You've got your vitality is
yeah, vitality is at a 3.
Yeah, excellent. So yeah, you will be able to shoot Colonel Baird before he is able to pull the trigger. Tell us how that looks.
I think that it's done with an almost professional degree of showmanship. So I'll kind of jump down, perch onto all fours before I spring up, fire one shot, spin the gun somewhat theatrically on my finger before, pointing it back up toward the sky, cocking the hammer one more time. And I will maybe at that point shout some kind of warning to Fauconberg to try to get him focused on me. Something to the effect of, Fauconberg, I think you want your business with me, given that I'm the one with the gun.
And I think Fauconberg will turn his attention slightly from Dr. Fenworth towards you, Trixie, and say, "My, that was rather a good shot. Baird was a good man, but, my dear, I do have still rather a number of men with guns in my own employ." And he will kind of wave a hand almost casually at the guards, who have been taken aback somewhat by the summary execution of their leader, but are beginning to kind of bring their rifles to bear on you. Dr. Fenworth, what do you do?
I think what is Madam Sorokin doing? Is she trying to get away?
Yes, she is trying to kind of scramble towards one of the trapdoors. Confusion. There's still some confusion on the roof.
I think I will then. Trixie has Fauconberg's attention, which is nice. Then I can talk to his people, and I will take off my mask and look at them and say, "Can't you see that this is treason? What you're doing? This is not a holiday fun exercise in the world building or what have you. This is proper treason. What you're doing, you're using the crown jewels for these shenanigans. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? Aren't you Englishman?"
Excellent. So once more, we'll be going for the night move. I think, so just to kind of set expectations here, I don't think they're necessarily going to throw down their arms That's maybe we get up to 12 plus thing, but you will certainly cause them to pause and think and you know, sort of instill a moment of doubt in them all on the success. But what are you afraid will happen if this goes badly?
Well, I'm afraid if this goes badly, I think that they will tell me that the queen knew about this. This was all on the queen's authority. That's what I'm afraid of.
Oh, I like that a lot. And I think that it is a little worse than that, however, because as Colonel Baird's body hits the floor, we'll just see that thin trickle of blood running down to the flagstones and start to be absorbed into the silver of the sigil.
Yeah, I was worried about that. But I'm rolling with presence, right?
Indeed, yep.
This feels like something you roll with presence. Okay, come on, roll dice. They did a 10 again. They rolled, but well, I don't know. Yeah, it's a 12 then.
Nice. So, well, there's that 12 we were talking about. I think, yeah, with a combination of having seen Colonel Baird dropped, who was their leader, their mentor, and what you've been saying, I think we do see the resolve of the men start to break. It starts slow at first. They just start to kind of lower their guns from being trained on Trixie. They start to kind of look between one another as they and you can just feel that the fight has gone out of them, and they start to, yeah, again, not exactly like turn their tail and flee, but they start to kind of obviously stand down and start backing away, and you know, they probably do start to like make a beeline for the exit, because they've sort of realized the tide's kind of turning against them, and it's probably in their best interests to not be here when the authorities arrive. Mr. Casebury, while all this has been going on, what have you been up to?
Ardent, I think Ardent is trying to figure out some way to preferably disrupt the ritual, or at least delay it long enough that their window of opportunity will pass. That the stars will no longer be right for what they're trying to do. Or failing that, try to take control of the ritual in some way.
Yeah,
but primarily disrupt it.
Absolutely. I think this again. This sounds like Rites of Salt and Smoke is probably the most appropriate move here. We can see how that goes. So yeah, you can make that move. Obviously, it will be a sensitivity. I think I am going to invoke your strange reflections to give disadvantage on this roll, as
I think Ardent is a bit hesitant about in using the dark entities here, because he's worried that they have some ideas about what this could be useful for, but he needs their power and their insight to be able to do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he has this sort of double vision, I think, right now of what's going on down there with this he's not quite sure of the symmetries and the patterns because of his confusion with this after the mirror.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
let's see. So I have disadvantage, and I don't think I have anything. I actually have the St. Petersburg mirror. I very well couldn't have brought that with me.
You could certainly invoke it if you wish. That will be. You can kind of essentially still draw on its power, I think, or you possibly already saw an alternate vision of the future in it before you came here. So yeah, if you wish to use that, you can. If you do that, then essentially, we'll roll.
It will cancel out.
It will cancel out that, but you'll still essentially roll that third dice after the other two to see where it goes. So it might not be the best in this, but it's also as a that is an option that you can do. You can do it then. I think that's the best way of making that roll.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I think in this case, it's this double vision or mirroring isn't only to his disadvantage. It allows him to see because he has been looking into the mirror before they left. I think he looked into the mirror before they left, so now he can kind of see not only what the state of the ritual is right now, but what it could be in the future and that sort of thing. So I'll be rolling normally at first, and then I roll the one next to that.
That's right.
Excellent. So the first two dice are those, 1 and a 5. And the third one is a 5.
Very nice. So that will be a 12 plus, I believe. Though I think so. The first thing is that this will you will achieve what you set out to do without cost, which will be one of the effects or other on there will allow you to disrupt this ritual. You have that option of unmarking the cosmic passage if you wish, but you don't need to do so if you don't want to.
I can't actually because of that thing.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, my sensitivity is 3, so I can't use that thing.
But yeah, tell us how it looks as you wield your magics to disrupt this ritual.
I think they also have maybe not they don't have an orrery, but they have some of these some of the crown jewels and some other objects sort of represent the planetary bodies and the stars in the sky and that sort of thing. They correspond to those things. And when Ardent, he is holding on to the orrery and up on the tower and manipulating that, and there is a visible power, and he has, because he has this self-harm thing, I think he has cut his hands, so there's blood running down the orrery, and we can see the power of the dark entities going through him and through the orrery and towards these objects and starting to move them so that they are out of position for what they need to be to complete the ritual.
Awesome, awesome. And so I think this is the point where Lord Fauconberg has seen the men start to kind of disperse, sees the sigil being disrupted by the dark energies, and he will sigh deeply. All I wanted to do was make this world a better place. Why have you done this? Why have you disrupted what could have been everything? Everything could have been so much better than it is.
He's talking to Trixie, right?
I mean, he's not talking to anyone in specific, really, at this point. Probably to both of you, really. So yeah, whoever wants to jump in, feel free.
Yeah, feel free if you'd like.
Just look at him and say, your vision is flawed. It's not up to you to decide the future. Better world for whom? Really? What does that mean? All you told me were phrases that were hollow. Your plan to create a better world by using this, no, it's not how it works. I think that's not how any of it works, really. Can't make a ritual and kill a person who hasn't done anything to you and say, now the world is better. How's that better? How's that better? Would that have been better for Madam Sorokin?
Sacrifices always need to be made, perhaps not always quite so literally, but
you need to sacrifice something that belongs to you, not somebody else.
Perhaps you are right. Well, and I think he will walk over to where the the sacrificial knife that was shot out of his hand earlier is still kind of embedded in the flagstones. And he will reach down, grab the knife, and it obviously takes a certain amount of effort, but he will pull it out from the stone. Well, I did not intend for this to be quite so Arthurian. And then I think so I just want to double check in out of character at this point. His intent at this stage is to kill himself. Are people okay with that in an out of character sense first before we go any further? Obviously, if you want to intervene in character, that's cool. But yeah, no, I just wanted to check first that that people were okay with that. And yeah, as he pulls forth the knife, he will raise it, and unless anyone intervenes, he is going to drop it across his own throat.
I think should intervene, you know. I will grab his hand and say, no, that's not the way.
Alas, Dr. Fenworth, I think even my vaunted title is unlikely to keep me from the gallows on this one. And I would rather this than to dance the hempen jig.
I think I look at Trixie at this point.
This is a tough one, kind of out of character. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I kind of wonder what would the goal of Hargrave House be here? Would it be to keep things quiet or to expose what's been going on?
Keep things quiet, I think.
Yeah, and then I think him being dead helps with that more than, because we can't just let him go. And if he's taken into custody in some way, they need to question him. And
oh no, that would not. That's why John was looking at Trixie, because he could be a fugitive. He could go to the new world, try and make a better life for people there. Sorry. That would have been the idea, because arresting him and stuff, that is not in the interest of Hargrave House at all.
Right.
But if you're not suggesting that, then well,
it's tough, because on the one hand, this guy could easily do something like this again. He's not safe to keep out of custody, in my view, but at the same time, I don't particularly have much interest in shooting someone who can't even defend himself against me.
I may be leaning too much on the magics here, but maybe we could try doing some kind of binding ritual or something that would prevent him from doing this sort of thing again. Maybe from using magic at all. That could maybe, if he's neutralized, then it wouldn't be as much of an issue to let him go.
What I will say is at this point, Trixie, you can start to feel something burning in your pocket on your gun belt, It's the golden bullet that the man in the sun mask gave you.
I'll reach a gloved hand into my pocket and withdraw it. Something off about this? I say, holding it up to Ardent.
Yeah, Ardent, you can see this is glowing. It's like it has a small portion of the sun inside it. It clearly has very powerful magical properties to it. The exact specifics of it, you're not sure, but it is absolutely an item of power.
Wonder if I'm thinking about what the man in the sun mask told me. I wonder if taking a shot at Fauconberg with this would do anything.
It does have great mystical power. I am unsure of what the effects would be.
Is there a some kind of maybe like investigate or reason sort of thing we can use to intuit kind of what this might do if we use it? Because I think this might be the way out. I'm just trying to get a sense as to what we might expect.
Yeah, sure thing. I think what you will, and definitely Ardent as well, you'll kind of pick up on some of this. It will not simply kill Lord Fauconberg. It would achieve little, but other than that a regular bullet would not otherwise. You get the sense that obviously the man in the sun mask knew what was going on, and you presume wanted it stopped. In terms of the, like I said, in terms of the specific effect, not like I said, you don't sort of know what it will do, but you do get the sense that this will in some way bind or otherwise impede Lord Fauconberg from being a further threat.
Well, with that in mind, I don't see any reason why I shouldn't load that into one of my empty chambers.
And I think Lord Fauconberg will kind of turn towards you, Trixie, but he will speak to John and say, I have left instructions. You may collect your portrait if you so desire.
I think John is a bit speechless at that, actually.
And yeah, I think he will turn to face you, Trixie. He's got an almost peaceful expression on his face, though there's obviously some lingering disappointment there.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to do or say, or shall I just go ahead and say something and shoot this guy? I'll just kind of grimly tip my hat to him and say, well, Fauconberg, I understand we're at a bit of a crossroads here. You want to die, and, well, doesn't appear to me that Dr. Fenworth's all too much in approval of that. But nonetheless, perhaps this will be a fine compromise. And I'll reach my weapon before me and see if I can fire this round into his chest.
Yeah. And the bullet will hit him in the heart. And there is a flare of bright golden light from his chest, like the sun. And his whole body incandesces with light until it takes on the shape of a giant golden falcon of light, much like the one in the painting he made at the beginning of the series. It will kind of soar up and around the roof of the tower before it sort of starts to condense down and compresses into a regular sized falcon, a little merlin, just a small bird. You'll see another one actually that you will have noticed sort of flying around, which you, again, from the pictures you've seen of him, was his pet falcon, and the two of them kind of spiral around each other and soar off into the night sky.
Now, friends, I am as sentimental as the next man, but I think that might have drawn a bit of attention our way. Motioning up at the sky with the falcon soaring about. I think we'd best take our leave, and quick.
Seems a reasonable suggestion, yes.
Yes,
Off then.
The gunfire and whatnot may also have contributed to this.
I mean, the people guarded this, they were all Fauconberg's men. Even the beefeater at the guard was one of his. So I think if we go now, we will make it out without being questioned by anyone.
Then just let me fetch my orrery and we can be away.
Excellent. And I think that is where we will bring our night scene to a close. We will take a quick break. So we'll come back at the top of the hour. And then we will do kind of wrap up and epilogues and all that stuff. So yeah, I will see you all back in a few minutes.